Good to see. You know, it's like we were saying at the end of the game, that kind of the idea of being brutal and still going for the jugular, even when you're 2-0 up, still going for more. Like, that's the kind of thing that he needs in his side. And Joe, what you were saying there about having that quality and depth as well, which is going to be so useful if they're going to fight on fronts like the Premier League and the Premier League.
Yeah, it is, and he's really relaxed there. You know, and I think what he's Eddie, because I don't think results-wise he wouldn't obviously would be pleased with how the start to the season's gone because they've been better, but I think the performances have been there, and I think tonight, I think he's probably going back into that dressing room thinking to himself, I think that's us now kicking on. Like I said, Fulham's coming here at the weekend, and that's a good game as well for them. Go and get another victory, and I just think they're going to motor now from now until Christmas. You'll see them do that.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think, when you looked at what they did last season and then through the summer, rather than adding to the squad, they arguably lost their best player. So it was a bit of a turmoil, and that went on all summer. And it's taken a while for them to find their rhythm again, and that's what he's looking for. Because as you said, the performance have been good, but the goals haven't come on the end of it. And while those goals haven't come on the end of it, people are saying, well, yeah, you've lost Isak and blah 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 blah. I think they needed a performance like that tonight, and hopefully that starts them into where they want to be.
Les, I think with Visser, when he's back fit, hopefully soon, and Voltemada, I think they're actually in a better position than what with Isak. Because, to compete on more fronts, you need players who can, come in. And you look at the numbers that they're going to have, Gordon, Alanga and everyone, them two. I think they're in a better position.
You need that competition. You do. All right, guys. Well, look, there's two sides to the story tonight, and Jose Mourinho, unfortunately for him.
What is your reaction? What are your thoughts on the match overall and your team's performance tonight?
A good performance in the first half. Totally undeserved result at the first half. Not easy to come here and to play the way we did in the first half. Creating 4 big chances, hitting the post, being the team that, in my opinion, was closer to be winning. Then in the second half with the second goal, was completely turned around, and then the result is more than fair.
Is that a mentality thing, do you think, in your players for what happened after the second goal?
I don't think it's a mentality thing. I think it's just the difference of qualities between the two teams. They are more physical, they are more intense, they are faster. They have a bench with phenomenal players to change the dynamics. And then when the game breaks, because in the first half, even the second half, until the second goal, we were very compact. At the moment you are losing 2-0 and the players want to try to chase the result and the game open and more space, then they have different engines than we have. Even the profile of the leagues, the Premier League demands a great evolution of teams at this level. In the second half is suffered.
Where do you think this leaves your Champions League campaign now after 3 games? 15
points to play for. We lost Chelsea away, Newcastle away, which in the end wouldn't be dramatic. Dramatic was the loss at home against Karabakh, and the team now with 0 points. But we have 15 points to play for with 3 matches at home. I would say maybe 10 points, 11 points are the points that we need to qualify. So game on.
And what is the most pressing thing for you to identify, to try and help these players with in the immediate future to turn around the results?
The domestic competitions are the competitions to win. And I think we can compete to that, and we can win the domestic competitions, the cups and the league. In Europe, to play against these top teams is more difficult. Of course, it's more difficult. But again, I think we did a positive game at Chelsea, and we did a good first half here today. The team was not lucky, and then with the second goal, was difficult. Was really difficult.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Jose, they're saying, look, no complaints about the score, what happened there. You can't really be fairer than that. What is it Jose's got to do with this Benfica side?
He needs to settle. I think there's talented players in the squad. I think he's has to evolve. Like he said there, he was clear. Newcastle have got more firepower. They've got more players. There's more demands. You expect Newcastle with the finances they got to beat Benfica. He's right. They can win the domestic competitions, the cups, and the leagues, and I think that's what he's been brought in for. And I think he just has to maybe a softer approach. You know, it's not like he's walking into Inter Milan or Chelsea or Real Madrid where, you know, if you lose a game like this 3-0, the demands are high. I think people at Benfica understand they're in a low part of their cycle. He's in, and I think it's probably a 2-year project for him to put trophies on the table there.
Yeah, difficult because as we said at the start, that they're a team that, you know, they produce players and they sell them on. So are they going to win the Champions League? Probably not, because of the fact that they sell their best players. So it's a difficult point. What they need to do is get to this competition year in, year out, and they make the money, but they sell the players. So it's a difficult one. It's hard to assess what Benfica expect. Do you know what I mean? And I suppose if it's on the domestic level and they're going to win the league, or they're going to challenge for the league and they're going to challenge for the cups, they'll win some of them. But when you come up against these teams, the tougher teams in the Champions League, it's going to be very, very difficult.
Well, let's have a little look and see how Newcastle did undo Benfica today. We'll start with 1-0 for Anthony Gordon. The changes tonight. How pleased were you with that performance all round?
Yeah, really pleased, because Benfica are a very good team. So we had to show our qualities today. I thought we were patient initially because we had chances and didn't score early. But we kept at it, and I think once we scored the second goal, you sort of saw the real us and what we can be. I thought we were excellent from that point onwards.
Eddie, do you think this is the best squad you've assembled since you've been here? Now, because I'm thinking the strength on the bench is incredible. Harvey Barnes obviously coming in and scoring 2. Tonali didn't even need to get stripped. You've got real strength.
Yeah, we have strength, but it's sort of on paper. I think you've got to go and prove it. So the previous squads we've had here, obviously last season we had a great season. We won a trophy, so we've got to go to work, I say, and prove that really, that the strength of the squad warrants sort of the feeling I have, because I do believe we've got full of really, really good players. We haven't quite clicked into gear yet this season. Hopefully that's the start of what we can be.
Ed, I actually brought my boots with me tonight, and I was hoping that, you know, I mean, I might knock on your door, but
put them back in the car, Les.
Yeah, I just
I don't know. We'll have a look at you.
I realise I've got to do that, but I was just saying you must be pleased with the wingers. We were talking before the game, talking about the wingers need to add goals to what they're doing as well, and tonight we saw the wingers getting those goals. Yeah,
really pleased with all of them. I think Anthony was outstanding tonight. He looked a real threat all game. He was dynamic and very aggressive, positive. Jacob's always been sort of an assist threat, and today I think he was absolutely that. Some of the deliveries he put in were very, very good, and really pleased for Harvey to come on and get the 2 that he did, and off the right-hand side, so it shows his versatility. I think it'll do those 3 players in particular the world of good.
Did you ask Nick Pope to become a bit of an assist threat as well?
Well, I'm not sure I can take too much credit for that. We are working on certain things with Nick on his distribution, like his throwing's a big strength of his, actually, and we have been working on that. I wouldn't necessarily say that was in the, necessarily what we've worked on, but you know, he's a very, very good goalkeeper, and he showed that today from corners, and the little bits that he had to do, thought he did really well. And of course, distribution is so important in the modern game.
Can I ask you about Lewis Miley as well today? Another young man coming in, big Champions League game. He done well.
I did really well. For me, Louis got all the attributes to be whatever he wants to be in various roles. And he can play holding like he did today, or higher up the pitch. But his technical quality, his temperament, you can see today is a massive game for the football club. He's not really fazed by it. He just goes on and does his stuff, and very good.
Is he leaning into Tonali and Guimaraes, the experienced players around him, you know, giving him pointers?
Yeah, but I think Louis sees himself with them. You know, I don't think he necessarily sees it like that. Yes, of course he will. He's open enough to want help and guidance and progression, but I think quite rightly he sees himself on the same level as them, and he's competing with them for places.
Yeah.
Can I ask, Ross Wilson's come in, a new sporting director in the international break. What is it that you want to be working closely with him to do, and what are your plans with him?
Yeah, it's the start of a new relationship. I'm really excited by what Ross can bring the football club. I think he's got a wealth of experience. He's been involved with some huge football clubs. I think just from our perspective, we need to build the infrastructure and the processes to make sure we're successful for the long term. And Ross will be a huge part of that. Transfer policies, academy, women's game, and making sure we evolve in the right direction.
Excellent. Okay. One more for you, Les? I don't want to cut you out because it's Les. Do you know what I mean?
He wants to ask about training session tomorrow.
It does, yeah.
What's on tomorrow?
9 o'clock.
Anyway, we will let you go. Don't worry. Thank you so much. A great win tonight, and you must be really pleased. Thank you so much.